I
Definitely
have a fly in my office? This is gonna be really annoying. I have one fly
Skirt.
in here. It keeps finding me, as long as it doesn't find my beer.
Right.
Oh, this fly is going to drive me crazy. I don't know where it came from, and it was not here earlier.
Let's see if they can
Let's
entertain us
see. As
more.
long as it stays off the beer, I'll be fine. I'm not gonna be able to concentrate now. I don't even know what we're talking about. Talking about teams, multi-teams, collaboration, communication, right?
But anyways, yeah. So start with the alignment is actually very important. Sometimes it might feel like it's I'll say.
I think I
Wait,
got
did you catch the
one.
fly?
I think I got it. Sorry, you could tell that I was not paying attention. I
I
think I
heard a
got
dunk.
it hit the mic. It landed on the mic at first, and then it landed on the keyboard. Yeah,
It's funny. Like I
fighting.
did all this thing, and then all I hear is a dunk. I was like, oh, you were
You
just
did a really
catching
good
the
job
fly.
explaining the whole topic.
Cheers, mix, click, and code with Boozy browsing, sipping and fixing the web one cocktail at a time.
It's a surprise.
Yep.
Going straight to. I think I showed this to you. My drink
All
is
right.
Viking blood. I thought this was wine, but it's mead.
Okay.
And I didn't know what mead was, and my husband just explained what mead is. I was like, "Oh, okay, so it's not wine." It's like apparently, for those of you who don't know what mead is, I just learned this, is that it's a beer made with honey. So I might
Yep.
like it, is what I was told. So
It's
that's
typically pretty sweet. Obviously, it pulls in the honey stuff,
okay.
and usually higher proof too.
Find out. I guess there's like they really packed it, huh?
Plastic.
All right. So based on a recipe from about year 1700, Nordic honey wine with dried hibiscus and
Uh,
ginger added. Ooh, I like that sound. Interesting. Oh, interesting color.
Yeah.
Ooh, it
Ew.
smells very gingery.
Okay. I was gonna say that's not a good start.
It tastes like a medicine.
It's something you're gonna have to warm up to.
Yeah, I mean, I do feel a little under the weather because weirdly today's really cold day here,
Yeah.
and I was traveling until really late at night. But I can do that. I can't taste the alcohol though. I know it's like 19%.
That's what I was like. It's definitely gonna be higher. Well, I
Okay.
went with a beer. It's called, well, the name of the beer is called Psycho Penguin. That's a vanilla porter. Odyssey Brewing or Brewworks. They're a local, like real local to me.
That's a
Says,
really cool bottle. Okay.
yeah, it says brewer's notes are dark, rich, and roasted maltness with a hint of vanilla. So we will see. Caught my eye because it's orange and black, and it's like fall still.
Yeah. Well, it's a very cute can. It almost looks like a little duck.
Yeah, kind of. That's pretty cool. We'll see.
Ooh. I don't feel it when you start tasting it. When it goes down, it's definitely strong.
I like mine.
Ooh. I gotta slow
I
down
like
on
mine a
this
lot.
one.
I do taste the vanilla now. I didn't taste it initially. Hmm, it's really good. I
Definitely
have a fly in my office. This is going to be really annoying. I have one fly
skirt.
in here. It keeps finding me, as long as it doesn't find my beer. So we got a good topic.
Yes. What is the title of the topic? I know we talked about what we want to talk about.
The actual title is Bridging Cross-Functional Teams.
Yeah. We're
We-
talking about what's the effective way to collaborate with different teams, external, internal vendors, they call it. So, oh, there we go.
Yeah, I mean, this
And
obviously comes up a lot in our work. We're typically an outside team in the first place, so pretty quickly it becomes multiple teams when we're working on projects with people.
I mean, these days it's actually a very common topic, not just agency like us or what is it, consultants like us. It's depending on how big your team is, you always work with a different team, not just your
Right.
internal one. And depending on how big your company is, the culture of different teams are very different. It's almost like working with a different company. So even if you're not facing this right away, this is something that will eventually you think that one of the things that you'll face.
Yeah, I like this list of why, but also just thinking through how. I mean, how it's happened in the past. It's
Hmm.
almost the reality is it's almost always well, it's always going to be brought up when the project's not going well, right?
Right.
If the project's going well, and I don't know if it's correlated completely or correlation causation, but you can almost guarantee that if the project's not going well and there are multiple teams, it's because of miscommunication or misaligned expectations between the teams.
Right.
Um, it's typically not, one or more of the teams are not trying to do well.
Mhm.
It's usually that they haven't, started from scratch in the beginning and like communicated some goals and set some baselines.
And it's also one of those things that if you're working with different teams like that, even though sometimes it might feel redundant and more too corporate-y, or I don't know what the right term is, but it is a necessary thing that you need to go over goals, timelines, metrics, and all those um,
Yeah.
items in order to make sure that you guys are all in the same page, all
Yeah.
on the same page.
And I was just thinking of the like going through the slides and some of these recommendations. I think the one thing we're going to be missing out on is just I kind of alluded to it, like if someone's not doing well, but it's more real. The more realistic thing is there's politics involved, and
Yeah.
people do not want another team to do well, so
Yeah.
they just drag the whole thing down, and then possibly even both sides, and that's outside of the scope of this conversation for the most part. Like that's a
Yeah.
need to just set your team aside and get them on board.
Right. Yeah, that's an unfortunate reality that a lot of projects or work tasks have to go through.
Yeah, I feel like, and there's a lot of reasons around that too, because it's obviously there's just typical politics if it's like internal multiple teams in a company. But I think there's also some like people trying to save their job or save their, show everyone how great they are. And you have
Mhm.
this outside consulting company or outside whatever
Mhm.
company, and they want to show that they're better than the other team or something.
Yeah.
And
And sometimes it's just simple as that the whoever team hasn't worked with the other team yet and just there's no trust built yet. And it's just leading into unnecessary obstacles, I'll
yeah,
say.
yeah. So going through these four core principles,
Mhm.
I think I feel like the first one's obvious, but I think a lot of projects get off the rails very quickly because they skip this like first alignment or baseline of like letting everyone know what the
Mhm.
project is, what the goals are of the actual project, because I think people start behind. Like almost every project starts late, I feel like.
Yeah.
It's supposed to start at a certain time, and for various reasons, contracts or deliverables from something else, the thing
Mhm.
starts late, and then we just start working.
Yeah. But it's also, I mean, they actually, the challenge kind of listed correctly different assumptions because you can't
Right.
assume what the goal is. And a lot of times, a lot of people are not aware of timelines or
Yeah.
doesn't believe in timelines. They think it was just set up, but there are, if the project's going right, if you have the right management level, timeline is real. It's not something that you'll be shifting around. And also with the success metrics too, because there are metrics. You just need to make sure that all the main ones are discussed so that even anyone working in the team, anyone working in the project should be aware of all these things. And if they're not, whoever is overseeing the person should be constantly reminding them of it. So even all these, like all the challenges, the basic thing that needs is a good communication will fix a lot of these things. Yes, even unclear processes, information silos, those all, if you are the results of not communicating well amongst the teams or even within the teams. But anyways, yeah. So start with the alignment is actually very important. Sometimes it might feel like it's tedious, but it's a necessary evil that needs to be done. Well, it's not even evil. It needs to be done, I would say.
I think I
Why
got
did you
the
catch the
line.
fly?
I think I got it. Sorry, you could tell that I was not paying attention.
I
Think I
heard a
got-
dunk.
I hit the mic. It landed on the mic at first, and then it landed on the keyboard. Cool.
It's funny. Like I
Piloting.
did all this thing, and then all I hear is a dunk. I was like, oh, you were
You
just
did a really
catching
good
the
job
fly.
explaining the whole topic. I skipped ahead before and talked about solution, so we went backwards. But I think we got this slide pretty good, right?
Yeah. No, but like just go over all the solutions because I want to see if they
Go
can kind
individually.
of,
Yeah.
yeah,
So
individual one will fix which challenges.
we talked about start with alignment, a like
Mhm.
baseline, and communicating like what all the things about the project are supposed to be,
Mhm.
whether they're the um, like dates, timelines, goals, things like that. Design the framework early. I don't remember what that meant. I don't remember that bullet.
Yeah, let me
I
actually
like
check that.
because we talk about communication after that. When you work on it with AI to do the layout, and then it starts changing text for you.
Yeah, yeah. Define success, alignment, saves, blah, blah, blah. Second, framework. Is that the one about the framework?
Uh-huh.
You must control the structure of rhythm. Define the cadence from day one to create predictability.
Okay. I think we could
Yes.
do 3 bullet points.
Yeah.
I don't know how that one got added, honestly.
Yeah. I think that's
Communication context
more,
is pretty clear.
I think it's more around the processes, unclear processes.
Okay. Like,
But
not just the communication process, but
right,
with general, like
the
what's
actual
supposed
process.
to be delivered, how it's gonna be delivered, when it's gonna be delivered, by
Right.
who's gonna manage it. Yeah, that makes
Mhm.
sense.
Communicate context. I think that's one of the most important ones
Yeah.
because you can't assume the other person will know the context. I just had this conversation with one of our developers earlier about when we're talking about his updates on the projects. And he was getting frustrated because like he was getting a lot of requests without the context. With so some other developer would ask him question without giving any context,
Oh, yeah.
and he would just get confused, but also getting frustrated because it's getting repeated process. And he's like, I need to know the context in order for me to help you. And it was interesting that we just had this conversation. I'm like, yeah, context is very, very important because your answer will be very different depending on the context.
Yeah. And I don't think it was the case here, but I think that a lot of times when you are a developer, or when I hear someone talking to a developer and they're
Mhm.
trying to like put them in a hole, or like put them into a position where they're trying to like say an answer or say
Mhm.
a problem that can cause, like,
Mhm.
that's going to be caused by someone else, let's say, like
Mhm.
basically trying to throw someone under the bus, but without, like, they're going to ask the developer this, and like, well, if I knew that context, I would answer it maybe very differently, maybe more openly, or
Right.
maybe I'm going to say, go talk to that person and stop talking to me.
Yeah. So
Um,
context is very, very important. And
that's
it's really
that,
good habit to always provide that before you
right,
try to ask them questions.
right. I was going to say that can lead into the next one with transparency, with the example that I'm giving. Like, if the
Right.
context is on purpose removed so
Hmm.
that you can like get answers or get like communication in a way that people don't understand why you're trying to get it, it's typically
Right.
because you're not being very transparent about what you're trying to get.
Yeah. And a lot of times when there were like when there are challenges across the team, and sometimes like another team was brought in to provide the solutions, a lot of times these were already heated. So the team that's coming in might not even know what's going on from the meeting alone. So like providing the context on what's going on around will give better solution, better recommendations if you're looking for it. So yeah. And this mindset shift is like I guess that's something that I don't know. These things I always feel like it's given, it's obvious, but sometimes you just need to list it up to point out the obvious.
Yeah, I mean, if you're the one in charge of a multi-team collaboration project, whatever you want to call it, like it is,
Mhm.
you're not really managing the project. Like you're at a different level. You're
Right,
doing more orchestrating of the teams. Like there should be individual managers on each team, basically,
right.
whether they're leads or whatever. But typically, a manager, project manager, product manager, whatever you want to like, whatever the role is on the team. Those are the
Mhm,
people managing the day-to-day stuff. You're orchestrating all of the things and making sure that these solutions are put in place because it's not a like even start with alignment. Yes, great. That means start from the beginning. Doesn't mean you're not going to have to realign in the middle of the
mhm.
project.
Actually, a pretty good point that I didn't I was somewhat thinking it lightly, but if you think about that, managing to orchestrating, that's a really good mindset to
Mhm.
have, especially on this cross-functional teams or
Right.
because this kind of sometimes takes ego out of it too.
Yeah.
Because nobody's above another. You're just working together, collaborative environment by orchestrating it to make sure that things are moving forward, things are moving along, and working together nicely.
Page. Oh, okay. Now I can't read this.
Well, I try to set it as
We need some accessibility on the slide deck for
our
old.
a color. The only thing when I was
Oh,
trying to
yeah.
generate the slides, like the only thing I put was like our Boozy browsing color, which is kind of neon and
Yeah.
barish, and it went a little too far, so I had to tone it down a lot. And this is a toned down version, but I didn't get time to really refine it. I would say the text will be a little bigger, but whatever. Zoom out. I'll zoom out it when I'm editing it.
Well, I can definitely read the four core principles.
Mhm.
That's all I can. No, I can read the rest.
Save more time than any tools. Establish, share, and understand why project exists. That's true. It saves more time to communicate and be on the align yourself first will be better than using any cool tools you can pull in. Establish shared understanding of why project exists, what success looks like, and how decisions get made before tasks begin. So I agree. So it saves more time than using any fancy tools or even
Right.
whatever technology you bring in to make sure that you are on the same page.
Yeah, I've been on projects in the past where the lead or the project manager will like spend all this time around setting up the project management tools. It's like let's just start like have a meeting and talk to people. Like just talk and tell
Yeah.
everyone what it is and what they might like the things that they might be doing. Yes, you
Hmm.
might need to take another couple of days to set up all the tasks and everything, but let's get to work. But let's have the
Yeah.
meeting so that people know what they're supposed to be doing because they can actually start things on their own.
I I can relate to that. I think there was one time, this was very early on in my career. Jumped into this meeting, and this meeting was to discuss what communication method we're going to use. This is back in the day, so we didn't have any Slack or anything at the
Yeah.
time. So try to decide on chat. I think this was AOL days. There's like a company chat kind of in there, chat or email or spreadsheet. And
Mhm.
literally, people are getting heated about just deciding on that when we didn't even go through who's who's doing what.
Right.
And I remember this one person just stood up, was like, why don't we use all three? Right now, this is not important. And there's like, shut everyone. But can't believe like we spend more than 30 minutes just trying to argue about which method to use when we don't even know what we're going to communicate yet. But that does
Yep.
happen. Yeah.
Yeah. Then the next one up is framework, the control, the structure, not priorities.
Hmm.
This is where you're really talking about like one part of this would be the simple part is like, are we doing weekly meetings? Okay. When it is it? Like that's the base level.
Hmm.
Um, but also, like I was saying, like how are everyone's tasks being delivered? Or, some teams are designers and they're going to be sending designs over to another team to be approved. How does that work? Like that
Mhm.
communication between the product owners, project owners, and the design team needs to be established because every team might be doing it or used to doing it different ways, and they're coming in, fresh.
Mhm.
Either they need to adapt to the core way of doing things, or um, everyone needs to adapt to the outside agency, let's say.
Yeah.
But it
I
needs to
think
be
this is
known.
what yeah. I think this is one good point that being open at in this point is very important if you are willing to learn about more effective way to do things.
Yeah,
Because your way is not the only way. I mean, it might have worked in one project, might not and work in different projects. So being open about adapting a different process is also very important.
my flag.
Share the way, not what,
My
share the
flag.
why, not just one. This is
Not
actually
the
going
context.
extension of the context. This is, I think, it's very, very important. And sometimes it alleviates a lot of tensions just explaining the full pictures. Because sometimes people that get frustrated because they're only focused on their little spot, not looking at the big pictures. And once they understand, I was like, oh, this is why this was done this way. Or, oh, this is why somebody's spending this time doing something like that. So this, I think, is very, very important. I mean, all the things are important too, but going along with why you
Yeah.
want to explain the context. This is why. This is very important. Sometimes you might not think that, but you can't just assume that other person knows why this was done.
Yeah, I don't have anything to add. I mean, it's one of those things where it's obvious to a person that's actually run projects of this type, but
Hmm.
some people, again, they just want, like, why can't you just do your work type of mentality. It's like, well,
Yeah.
that's not how people work together at
Yeah.
all.
Well, also from my experience, it's not the person was against this, but when they never dealt with working with cross
Mhm.
team in a bigger scope, they
Uh,
didn't see this. They didn't understand why until this is a necessary thing that has to be done. So sometimes it's just the lack of experience on different sides of projects, but this is very important to understand to have a good habit of doing this in any size of the project so that you're not assuming anything.
and then we got transparency. I mean, this obviously comes out with communication, I think.
Right.
It's communicating when you messed up,
Hmm.
is part of it. I think a lot of people, not a lot of people, I think sometimes you'll get into a situation where, or people get into situations, especially teams, when you're working with other teams that, again, a competitive nature or whatever comes out. It's like, well, I don't want to be the one that screwed it up. So you hold back and you try to get things done, and it's like you're holding other people up. If you just communicate the actual things that happened and people can plan for,
Hmm.
maybe we're not going to get through that on time early.
Yeah. This might be a not very obvious thing that I realize is that as a person who's managing the team or whoever's in the leadership, I think it's important to make sure that there might be, especially like I know the developers or even female developers too, more likely, they tend to be a little reserved and they're more scared. So
So,
making sure that it's not the environment for blaming or anything. So like you making sure that they are comfortable enough to admit different things if they make mistakes, because mistakes happen all the time. I tend to realize that a lot. That it's okay to share and explain and, I don't have to tell other group that you made the mistake, but it's more like, but be transparent, and it always fixes things faster after the
uh,
fact. And I noticed that more than think it would happen basis. So encouraging people to make sure that they can be open about raising the problem, because sometimes like it's not they're causing the problem, but they might see the problems, but they're not gonna speak out about it because it's not the environment that they can speak up to. So for the leaders of that group, it's important to encourage the people to be very open about what they see.
yeah, and I mean, it is harder when you're working with multiple teams if you're not being protected, or you don't feel like you're being protected, whether it's by the leader because they're leading multiple things, or internally on your own kind of sub team, that becomes very hard for anyone to surface things. So, a little bonus mindset shift. So when we
So
talk
we start.
about, rather than just managing, orchestrating, or kind of moving around the pieces.
Right. Yeah, I think we explained it pretty well. And I realize this is very important in a lot of situations, especially you're working with different teams because you don't know what other leadership is, what other people's culture is like. So being respectful and making sure that you're orchestrating and not managing it
Yeah.
is very important.
I mean, again, this is kind of, it is real world examples and kind of recommendations, but also you have to understand that sometimes it's beyond fixing, and you have to manage. Like, you have to get into managing, the
Right.
things, and disciplining people and things like that. It's
Hmm.
not just about, oh, did I communicate properly?
Hmm.
Maybe someone has an actual issue that needs to be addressed.
Right. Yeah. But it's a good
Uh,
so what it looks like in practice. Let's
yeah.
read
Sure.
this. Align on goals, success metrics, and decision making authority. Establish collaboration framework, communication cadence, and share tools.
You'd start collaborating a framework and communication cadence and, like, getting things rolling. But daily, just how you're, constant share context, with every task, and that's individually. People should be sharing context on every task and normalize
Mhm.
transparency. That's the managers, um, and celebrate every problem. Oh, celebrate early problem raising. That's especially for people that are not used to working on big teams.
Mhm.
Them understanding that it's okay and it's actually helpful.
Mhm.
Um, Even though you're raising problems that you probably caused, it's still helpful to be raising the problem, maybe not
Yeah.
causing the problem.
Yeah. That's what I was trying to highlight before because sometimes like people might think that they're scared to speak up, but by encouraging that, it saves the project a lot of time.
Last slide.
All right. So takeaways. Alignment is much better than using fancy tools. I think we went over that at one point.
And then control the framework, not priorities. Context kills silos.
Providing context will, yeah, kill silos. That's very smart.
Yeah, because it opens up. A silo is something that, like, contains something, right? And that's the idea. Or silos, or silos could be the team, could be like the teams within the teams, even. And
Mhm.
tendency is to, like, only circle around your own team and build that up. But
Yep.
once you get outside of that and you can create the context around different things, different issues, different tasks, you start to get teams working with each other pretty quickly.
Yeah. And even sometimes like the weird silos could really go to the moon and go
Yep.
somewhere else very quickly.
Yep.
Yeah,
The transparency builds trust. That's pretty obvious. And then the
that's
orchestrate.
pretty obvious. Obvious, but sometimes it's hard to encourage.
Yeah.
Doesn't happen all the time. But
Yep.
orchestrate, don't micromanage. This is very important, but it's also feels obvious, but in reality, sometimes it's not that easy for some people.
Yeah. So what will you
Uh,
try first? I would recommend people kind of grow into the orchestrate, don't micromanage, especially, if you're at that leadership level,
Mhm.
it's something that has to be, you have to go to that next level of being able to, like,
Mhm.
really being able to watch and manage the things going on and not the tasks.
Yeah.
So being able to orchestrate all the issues, the micro issues, the big issues going up, the schedule. And it's not about, is it done yet? It's more
Mhm.
about, like, figuring out why it's not done yet, and then figuring out how you can fix that very
Right.
quickly.
Yeah. For granular level, I think my number one will be always provide context.
Mm,
So it saves a lot of people's time and energy.
yeah.
And obviously, transparency is very important, but
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
it's hard to maintain. This thing is a silence killer.
I bet.
And then like I said, because I just got back from long traveling from airport to whatever, and I was starting to feel like, oh, maybe I'm getting a little sick. This
Mhm.
feels like it's cold medicine on steroid, not in a good way.
No, it's got all the alcohol and none of the actual medicinal. Yeah.
But I'm gonna be giggling all night. But that was interesting. But it's a good reminder that sometimes it feels obvious, especially people like us who work with the multiple different teams.
Yeah.
But you quickly realize it's not obvious for a lot of people who haven't had experience with working with different teams.
I mean, hopefully we can add this back in, but I think a lot of agencies also, that the full service agencies, they also don't get a lot of exposure to this. Like we get a unique perspective because we really only do technology and consulting,
That's
right?
true. That's
So
very.
we always work with multiple teams
Mhm.
because it's our piece is not the whole thing. We don't, there would be no visual, there would be no
Yeah.
content, there would be no like product around what we
Right.
do without other teams.
Yeah. And I think also your background and my background, we came from working with enterprise level
Mhm.
companies. We are from enterprise companies. So
Got
we're
you.
so used to dealing with different teams. To some people, different team, when we say different team, it's almost different companies
Right.
because they're so different. Departments are all so different. But I overlooked that earlier that I thought everyone understood this, but it wasn't the case. If you're not exposed to that before,
Yeah, if you don't
or
work with like true enterprise companies, like they have their teams are really siloed and they do
Mhm.
their own thing and they have a hard time just internally working together sometimes.
yeah, yeah. And then like I did got approached a lot to just help them with alleviate a lot of tensions from between the teams, within the teams, because I had that experience. So I've been helping a lot with that too. But I quickly realized that, oh, this wasn't very common for a lot of people. They're just not familiar with it. Yeah. So that was fun. Like I don't know if I will love it. It's good. I think it's a good Christmas drink.
Hmm.
It feels very Christmassy feeling.
Mhm.
I mean, it's one of those things that you wanna drink in a, cozy fireplace.
Yep.
Hey, I'm
That's what
not
I was
used to
thinking
it.
when I had that cider the other time. It's like
Mhm.
a really good fall, like by a fire type thing. And I have
Yeah.
so I went out and got 2 drinks, one for next one also, the other one's a cider.
Okay.
So,
But yeah, I mean, I don't know, like, maybe it's just this is something that you can drink with your family gathering. It's
mm,
not bad. It's very gentle, and it feels very holiday-ish.
mhm.
Stay tuned for the next episode on Monday afternoon.